I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the... Oh, sorry, guys. Here we go. I guess we're back to another fun-filled day of science, section 1, chapter 1, section 4, whichever it happens to be, science and engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, here is your bell ringer. Go ahead and read through it. You're going to have to pause me for a second. Read through it. Go ahead and post it up there on Edmodo and get that done for us. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here is our objectives today. Number 1, we are going to explain how science, technology, engineering, and mathematics are related. Identify ways that technology responds to social, political, and economic needs. We're going to be able to explain the engineering design process for developing new technologies. And we'll also describe technology in terms of its intended benefits and unintended consequences. Dun, dun, dun. And here we go. Let's get started. What is technology? Well, as we've talked about before, and as you've probably thought about before, technology refers to products and processes that are designed to serve our needs. These right here, technology, this helps us to communicate. If in the old days when you used to have to write letters, you would have to use these to write letters and stuff. You even use this in school. Some of you guys don't know what that is. That is a pencil. All right. Technology also refers to this right here. This is my cell phone. Technology refers to that too because it helps us to accomplish a task. This is my mouse. This helps me accomplish a task. That is technology. The camera this is being recorded on, the computer this is being recorded on, these are all technology to help us accomplish a task. Okay? So if you look back here, technology refers to tools, methods, creating the products. So how these things are made, that TV show, How It's Made, it shows us technology, the processes of actually developing and producing these products. That is also technology. Now, how does science relate to technology? As we talked about before, what an engineer is, all right? Engineers use science, mathematics to create new technology that serve human needs, all right? Engineers are scientists. It's the same thing as a scientist. What they do is they find a need that we have, and they try to solve that need by creating something, all right? Instead of poking our finger and writing our finger in blood, we have a pencil or a pen that we can do that with. Instead of having to run to a payphone, now we have cell phones we carry in our pocket. There are many different types of engineers, and they develop many different types of products. Some develop products that we can eat. They're making bioengineered food. Some make these products that we use to make our lives easier. Engineers also use the design process to do this. Now, that design process is kind of like the scientific methods, okay? Engineering, obviously right here, creating technology, we talked about that. All this stuff here is stuff we've already talked about. I'll leave it up here a second so you guys can take notes if you want to. All right, so anybody, and you guys typically do, when you decide to build something new, if I give you a project, you guys typically will build a project using the same process. This is called the engineering design process, okay? The engineering design process looks like the scientific process, but it's a little bit different, a little bit more simplified. Starts off over here with ask, imagine, plan, create, improve. Just like the engineering design process, or just like the scientific methods, you can start anywhere and go anywhere inside of this. You don't have to follow this exact path, this exact pattern, although that's typically, all these steps are typically done by engineers, but they may not be done in that exact order. All right, so we'll start off with the first one. It says to ask. First off, engineers need to identify and research a need. So they have to define what it is they're looking for, just like when we talk about scientific methods. You have to define and focus what it is that you're trying to solve, what problem you're trying to solve. The next step is going to be imagine. They're going to sit down, they're going to develop all the possible solutions they can come up with on how to solve that situation. This is where they're brainstorming. Now, no ideas are crossed off as bad ideas at this point. Right now, they're just trying to get ideas. So they get all the ideas they can possibly get during the brainstorming phase, which is the imagine phase. All right. Now, sometimes some of those ideas will stand out, and sometimes some of those ideas won't. The next step is they have to plan. They have to make a prototype. They have to make a model of whatever it is that they're trying to figure out. Okay? So if they make that prototype, they make that model so they can see if their design works. All right? So when the designers created this pencil, make sure the pencil fit in our hand, make sure we're able to hold it, make sure it actually wrote. That's what engineers do. All right? And they have to go through that plan phase as well to make it good for us. Next, they have to create, and after they create the prototype, they have to test it and evaluate it. So, does the pin really come back out, or the pin come out when you push the button, or does it just stay out? All right, they have to design and they have to test it and they have to evaluate it. After they get done doing that, then they have to do a cost-benefit analysis. Is it really cost-effective to make these things extremely expensive so you can't afford these, or is there a way that we can make these products so they're very cheap so everybody can afford to buy a pen? Because if you make something too expensive, not everybody can buy it, and then you're not going to do that well in business. All right. They also have to make sure that it makes sense. Obviously, you're not going to make a Barbie doll that's made out with the hair made out of razor blades, because very few kids are going to play with it. All right, because they'll get hurt. So you got to make sense. Is that product going to be? Is that product going to make sense for the markets in order to buy it? Is it going to make sense as well as far as how much it costs to make it compared to how much you can make off of selling it? The last step is they're going to improve. Now, if there's a product already out there, they're going to look to try and design that product and make it better. If there is no product out there, as they go through this process and they started selling these, they can decide, hey, I can make this better. And they turn around and redesign it to make it better. That is the improved stage. That's the last stage over here. If it was not successful or didn't work well, they can modify it. If it was good and they just want to make it better, they can do that as well. Again, this is your engineering design process. Starts off with ask, imagine, plan, create, and improve, the engineering design process. Now, the last step, which isn't on there, which is something that we all scientists always do, is we have to communicate. All right, did this work? And if it did work, how did it work, and why did it work? And what did we do that made this not work? All right, so we had to go through and we had to communicate those results. I can tell you very, 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 very few times do they actually make something that works right off the bat first time through and they don't have to worry about it. Majority of times they have to redesign things multiple times before they can get something. Engineers have to redesign things before they can get it to where they want it to be. Now, when we look at technology, we look at those different things. Technology provides solutions for many types of social, political, and economic needs. All right. Here's an example. If you have an elderly relative, all right, those little call buttons. If you've seen them on TV, help me, I've fallen and I can't get up. They push the button. Well, when they push that button, it sends a signal to 911 dispatch that says, "Hey, this person needs help." This has really helped them out. This made the elderly living alone at home even more being able to be done, because up until this point in time, if you were elderly and you lived at home alone, you could fall and get hurt and no one would ever know that would happen to you. You lay there for days and possibly die from something that was so easily prevented just by having that button and calling. So this was something that was created to help those elderly people who were living at home. Now, when we look at things, we have to look at the intended benefit and the unintended consequences. Now, when we remember that first off, talking about the intended benefit, it's what this was designed for. It was what this was designed for. All right, that is what an intended benefit is. Why did they design the product? Why did they make the cell phone? Okay, that's the intended benefit. Unintended consequences could be good, it could be bad, it could be either one. So one of the bad things is cyberbullying. That's something you guys know about. People can get on the cell phones and they can text each other bad things to each other and ruin people's reputation and stuff like that. That's not what a cell phone was designed for. But that is an unintended consequence. It's also an unintended consequence can be good. More jobs were created. People have to sell the cell phones. People have to fix cell phones. People have to do all those different things. So jobs were created. That's not why the cell phone was created. It was not created to give people jobs. It was created so that we have an easy way of communicating in case of an emergency. But unintended consequence was that it created a lot of different jobs. Now, there's also bioengineering. Bioengineering is the application of engineering to living things such as us or plants. That's bioengineering. And that's what they've done to actually make plants grow bigger and produce more fruit and stuff like that. There are two types of bioengineered products when it comes to us, or it comes to living things. You have assistive and you have adaptive. All right. Now, assistive bioengineered products are technologies that help organisms without changing them. Our examples would be a hearing aid, eyeglasses, prosthetic limbs, sterilized bandages. Those help that organism. They don't change the organism. The other one is the adaptive bioengineered products, and these change the living organism, like a cochlear implant. That's the people who have little circles on their heads. They actually have an implant in their ear canal so that they can hear. An artificial heart changes that person. So those things are an example of an adaptive bioengineered product. They change the heart because they have changed that organism. A fake leg would be an example of assistive. It's helping that person get along, helping that person walk would be a fake leg. So that's the reason why that's assistive. And the artificial heart actually changes the heart. They don't change the leg. They just added something to help them stabilize themselves. Guess what? It is review time, review time. It's time for the review. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys read this time. I'm not going to go ahead and read it to you. I'll let you guys go ahead and read it. I'm going to go ahead and say that I can't wait to see you guys in the future.